Welcome to the February 16th regularly scheduled Board of Education meeting. Please take a moment to silence your cell phone and then join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Jen, can you take roll for us, please?
Absolutely. President Roush.
Here.
Vice President McFarland.
Here.
Secretary Ringgold is here. Treasurer Letterbach.
Here.
Trustee Blasey.
Here.
Trustee Craig.
Here.
Trustee Horowitz.
Present.
Thank you. Item 2 is the consent agenda. 2.1 are approval of the minutes from the January 20th, 2026 regular meeting. Item 2.2 are resignations of staff members as listed in your agenda packet with the effective dates also listed. Item 2.3 are approval of the payment of the school system's bills for the month of December 2025 as listed in the check registers prepared by Lori Holderby in the amount of $8,743,115, which is recommended. Distribution of obligations by fund is included in the documentation. Item 2.4 are legal payments to the below firms and amounts listed in the agenda packet. And item 2.5 is approval of the 26-27 school year calendar. Is there a motion for items 2.1 through 2.5?
So moved. Support.
Motion by Horowitz, support by Lauterbach. Any discussion or questions on 2.1 through 2.5? I'll just say thank you to Brian and the staff for working through the calendar. I know that that was a change presented to us and accommodated the county fair. So thank you to our community for working together on that one. All in favor of approving items 2.1 through 2.5, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay. Item 3 are Board of Education matters and presentations to the board. 3.1 Shining Stars. Penny.
Good evening. We have 2 shining stars for you this evening. And we are going to start with Tony Tolles. Come on up, Tony. Oh, you're going to get claps before and after. Love this. Little certificate for you. Gift. And you're going to stand right here and listen to all the good things. Tony's already told me he doesn't like the spotlight, and I told him he deserves this 2 minutes plus more. Tony joined the MPS team in 1996 as a building manager. During his tenure with MPS, he's held this position at multiple buildings, including Jefferson Middle School, where he is currently employed. Jefferson's great, isn't it? Yeah, we're going to make this interactive, Tony. Tony was nominated for his Shining Star by MPS colleagues, several of them, and among their comments are the following. Tony truly shines as an essential part of Jefferson Middle School. He's incredibly responsive to both staff and student needs and is always ready to help, often before anyone has to ask. Whether he's changing locker combinations in a flash, is that in your top 3 favorite things to do? Okay. Swapping out desks, fixing furniture, or keeping the building clean, or even completing repairs throughout the building, and plowing snow and salting sidewalks. We've had a lot of that this year. Too much, he says. Tony does it all with efficiency and care. He works in a quiet, friendly manner that makes everyone feel supported and appreciated, and Jefferson runs more smoothly because of Tony's dedication, reliability, and positivity every single day. Another colleague said that much of Tony's work happens behind the scenes, where clearly he likes to be, not in the spotlight, and often involves jobs that most people never see. He takes them without hesitation, he takes his work seriously, and he does it with deep care about the school community. His dedication especially shines in the winter when he, again, works to ensure that those sidewalks and entrance areas and parking lots are clear and safe for our students and staff when they arrive. Incredibly grateful for your service on those snow days especially. And finally, Tony is always friendly and takes the time to talk with everyone. We all know Tony has a good story to share at any moment, and they're worthwhile. You make the building feel very welcome, and you are always ahead of the ball with all of the things that need to happen. Jefferson is incredibly fortunate to have you because you're dependable and dedicated. Thank you for being a shining star. Congratulations.
Thanks, Tony. Thanks, Tony. Thanks, Tony.
Our next shining star is Wendy Thomas. All right, Wendy, this is really, come up here where they can see you.
I'd like to Matt to be behind me.
Oh, I would agree, but I think we got you. We'll keep an eye on him. You can tell she's part of that Midland High team here. Wendy joined MPS in 1999 as a teacher at the Juvenile Justice Center, which is the position she currently holds today, and that is a very special building, a very special partnership that Midland Public has, and very special people who work there. Wendy was nominated for her Shining Star by MPS colleagues, and among their comments are the following. Wendy goes above and beyond every single day to make Midland Public Schools a better place for students, families, and staff. She works side by side with some of our most vulnerable students, those enrolled at the Juvenile Justice Center program, and she does her work with unwavering dedication, compassion, and professionalism. She builds exceptional relationships with students and their families, meeting them right where they are and getting them where they need to be, ensuring that they feel valued and seen and supported. And that's a big, important job. Her ability to form meaningful, trusting connections is truly remarkable. Wendy is also a committed partner to the Midland High admin team. We're here today to support you as well, and to the teaching staff. She constantly advocates for students. She thinks outside of the box to help remove barriers, again, for some of our most vulnerable learners. And she collaborates closely with teachers to ensure that students receive the supports they need to be successful. I think oftentimes we don't appreciate the transition that students have from JJC back to our schools and how delicate that can be, and the adults that wrap around those students are incredibly important, and Wendy is one of those folks. She embraces challenging situations, leaning in and using creative problem solving to fight tirelessly for those students. Her passion, deep commitment to equity, and the care she brings to every interaction has made a positive impact on students and our entire school community. Another nominator said, this year, Wendy created and implemented a comprehensive transition program for our Monarch Academy students, working closely with both Dow High and Midland High staff to ensure a supportive transition back to that school community. She has developed mentoring programs that connect caring adults with youth who receive at least part of their education at the facility. This initiative goes beyond academics. It goes beyond what we expect from most staff to really just have the heart you have to make sure that these students have what they need to be successful. By building these relationships, Wendy is helping students develop confidence, accountability, and a stronger sense of belonging, not just here at Midland Public Schools, but in our entire community. Thank you for your work, and thank you for being a shining star. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Wendy. Thank you so much.
Get all the pictures? Yeah.
Well, big congratulations to Tony and Wendy. Thank you for all that you do. Next on the agenda is item 3.2, Spotlight on Excellence from Midland High School. Sheila and her team are going to present to us. Thank you.
Good evening. My first year as principal at Midland High School, Misty Tyson, one of our counselors, came to me indicating she had applied and received a grant to stock our bathrooms with feminine hygiene products for students and staffs to address period poverty. This work began with her vision. Of course, my first response was, yes, get students what they need. Secondly, I quickly became interested to understand more about what period poverty was. Before we answer that, I would like to introduce to you some amazing leaders at Midland High School who have been incredibly involved in this work. Jen Petalty, who is now one of our assistant principals. At the time we started this, she was a National Honor Society advisor. Amy Guzman and Heather Makar. They are current National Honor Society advisors, and these two fabulous human beings are some NHS leaders, Miss Addie McLaughlin and Gabby Reed. Oops, sorry.
So what is period poverty? Period poverty is a term that refers to the lack of access to menstrual products as well as the lack of education around women's health and the socioeconomic impact of menstruation on individuals who menstruate.
Nationally, 84% of teens have missed a class or know someone who's missed a class because they don't have access to menstrual products, while 66% stated that they don't even want to be in school during their period. 1 in 4 students have struggled to afford period products. So of course, this impacts our students throughout our community as well.
The effort truly began with our parent organization asking a simple but powerful question: how can we help? When we shared that the initial grant funding had dried up and that we needed feminine hygiene products to keep our bathrooms stocked, along with educating them about the realities of period poverty, they immediately took action. A parent brought the need to the Midland 100 Club, and from there, a member of the Strosacker Foundation stepped forward with a transformative $10,000 gift to support all Midland Public Schools secondary buildings. What started as one conversation quickly gained momentum, and we now regularly receive donations from families, community members, and local organizations throughout Midland, reflecting the strength and generosity of our community.
Well, my neighbor sometimes puts products on my front porch because she's part of that club, so that's cool. I come home to products on my porch that I bring to Midland High School. My name is Amy Guzman, and I am the Midland High School's National Honor Society chapter advisor. But our society is actively working to support students across the district by helping ensure essential hygiene products are accessible to anyone who needs them. It's really cool in the classroom that we have access to this within our classroom. Some teachers are very comfortable with having the baskets there, but also within the restrooms. And students have provided feedback that they find that this is quite positive. Through organized drives, discrete distribution systems, and partnerships within our school community, NHS members are helping normalize conversations around basic needs that reduce any stigma associated with asking for support. Their efforts reinforce that access to these products is not a privilege, but a necessity for students' well-being and success. By leading with compassion and service, our National Honor Society students are living out the core values of scholarship, leadership, service, and character in meaningful, tangible ways.
Midland High School's National Honor Society takes an active role in keeping our buildings stocked each week. A dedicated group of students regularly restocks all bathrooms, select offices and classrooms to ensure students, staff, and visitors have consistent access to the products they need. In addition to our weekly schedule, we've created a QR code system so anyone can discreetly notify NHS if supplies are running low. This allows us to quickly respond, often before our regularly scheduled timing, to restock the bathrooms and maintain a dependable, stigma-free system of support through MHS.
At Midland High, our work to address period poverty has become a meaningful example of students and community members working together to meet real needs. Through donations, partnerships, and student-led efforts, we are ensuring menstrual products are readily available and accessible throughout our MPS buildings.
Just as importantly, we are helping to normalize conversations around women's health so that no student feels embarrassment or stigma for something that's a natural part of life. This work reflects a compassionate community that believes in dignity, health, and opportunity that should never be barriers to a student's success.
The end. Any questions for us?
Do you guys have any estimate of how many thousands, tens of thousands of dollars worth of supplies, we go through as a district each year?
No, that was asked of me a while ago, and it's so hard to track because of our facilities are used by games for outside vendors, so it's really it's hard to determine that. So unfortunately, no.
And our donations are coming in.
Yeah.
All the time. People will just drop products off.
And we just restocked Dow High from the grant funding because they had so many just regular donations that it was like 2 years ago so they've had enough donations for the past 2 years that they didn't even have to touch grant funding until recently.
And can you talk a little bit about how you help with the educational side?
You ladies want to talk about
what education you provide? Sorry.
What do you want me to?
Yeah, go ahead.
Part of it is, as Amy mentioned, inside the classrooms, most of our teachers have little baskets up front. And so even male teachers will have conversations with their class that this is normal. It's not a big deal. And so again, part of the education piece is removing the stigma. Another piece we were going to launch 2 years ago, I don't think it's come off the ground, was having high school students connect with middle school students to indicate it's part of life. It's not a big deal. We all go through it, those types of things. We did, the first year we rolled it out, we did talk to some middle school students regarding, and parents, we did about having like a pack, like a just-in-case pack for the first time in middle school or 4th and 5th grade girls' backpacks, just because it comes out of nowhere for those little ones. So,
Well, thank you for the presentation. Is there anything you need from the school board?
No.
All right. Well, I especially want to say thank you for not only being successful at Midland High, but rolling it out to the other schools, and for the leadership that involves in the work and coordination. Thank you. But, well, thanks for coming and congratulations. Give them a round of applause. All right, item 3.3 is the strategic planning and facility planning update. Couple updates. First was strategic planning. The planning team is meeting this week to incorporate the board's feedback and prepare for the February 27th special board meeting, where the vision, mission, values, graduate profile, and strategic framework will be presented. The board, as we sit right now, the February 27th board meeting will be a special board meeting workshop, and then the board will likely take action to finalize those elements of the strategic plan at the March regular meeting. On the facility planning side, the facility assessment process has been completed, and the GMB Clark Three Rivers team is starting to finalize that report. I should note that we've been assembling a facility planning steering team, and that team's purpose will be to serve as a representative community-based advisory body that guides the development of the district's facility plan and potential bond program and assists the Board of Education in its final decision-making. The team will review and discuss relevant data and information to ensure alignment of the district's facilities with the district's larger educational vision, mission, and goals to best serve the students in the community. This committee is planning to have its first meeting this week, and then we'll meet at least 6 additional times throughout May. So thank you to our community members that are volunteering their time to participate on that. Any questions on 3.3? Okay. That brings us to item number 4, request to address the board. Renita Bonadies, first on the list.
Good evening, Renita Bonadies. Back in July of last year, I did a FOIA request, and one of the things on that request was all MPS staff salary and total compensations benefits. When I did that, it was because there was a lot of discussion I heard during the bond thing about salaries and wages for teachers and things, so I just wanted to see what the numbers were. I know there are some public access items that you can look at, but they're pretty much only the wages, so it doesn't show the benefit side of things. So that was why I had gotten that file. And when I was looking through it, there were a couple of things I kind of wasn't sure about. There were 2 parapros listed in the employees. One of them made $0 in wages, but had $70,983 in benefits. Another parapro had $574 in wages and $89,141 in benefits. That just was really kind of shocking. I wasn't sure how somebody would have that kind of benefit with no wages. So just curious how that works, because most of the parapros weren't anywhere near that total compensation level. The other thing I wanted to mention is the fact that, I mean, the public all knows, I have 2 lawsuits against the school district over FOIA fees. And I appreciate the fact that the agenda packets have been made free to the public now on the website. The one thing I've not seen change, though, in the last year and a half since I filed that lawsuit was the policy has still not been changed, so that FOIA fees still have to be appealed, cannot be appealed to the school board president. Instead, the only recourse for the public, if the fees we believe are too high, is to actually file a lawsuit. So in the year and a half, that particular aspect of my discussions, even before I filed the lawsuit, was you are giving the public no recourse except to take you to court if your FOIA fees that you're charging us, we believe are in excess of what they should be. And I know the county commissioners, local townships, they all can be appealed to the board president. So I would challenge why the school district has not done the same and changed our policy so that it can be appealed to the board president and save everybody a lot of legal fees. Thank you.
Joe Bonadies.
Greetings. I had a chance to read the Omnitech report several times. I'd like to point out a few things that stand out. 1, it describes this as a development process for a new master plan. I would like to specifically point out that this is the first master plan. 2, there were a few mentions about needing public engagement. 3, the topic of transparency came up many times. A few were positive, several were needing improvement, and a few were that it was poor. 4, in future bonds, there need to be a clear and the future bonds need to be clear and transparent, but specifically to come before the public before redirecting priorities. This goes back to the concerns about a blank check that allows freewheel pivoting from the last bond proposal. 5, the Omnitech survey was preloaded with the one high school question, which was interesting. This was not specifically covered in some areas. The parents were mixed, concerned, and felt uninformed. The only positive area was for the one high school was the board input. 6, communication input improvements were mentioned in some areas to understand more about what is going on. And for myself, in one listening session, I had a dad tell Omnitech, quote, "I have 4 kids in 3 schools. I get inundated with emails constantly, and there may be some important stuff in there, but I cannot read all of this." 7, you had over 1,000 elementary school kids' feedback into this survey. I'm sorry, but you can't put a kid in a candy store and call it data. That's when you get things like we need field houses while we're only just starting to do life skills training. 8, page 15, the board feedback comments on communication and trust. This section offered some hope on better board awareness, including a need to build trust and communication improvements. Finally, while the survey had some demographic questions, it neglected to ask if you were an MPS resident. I don't care what a school choice kid from out of the district wants. We are here to serve residents and their children. If you need more out-of-district kids to balance the books, you need to change the model. Enough of that. We have the GMB process now on the horizon and another set of parameters. Thank you.
Jerry Lombardo.
Good evening. Jerry Lombardo, teacher, special ed teacher over at Midland High, proud parent of 2 boys, one at Midland High and one over at Plymouth. And I'm also the president for the Midland City Education Association, which is why I am up here tonight. Each January, in honor of School Board Appreciation Month, the Midland City Education Association looks for a meaningful way to thank all of you for the service to our schools and our community. In the past, this has taken form of a donation to our school libraries, a student organization, a program within the district or outside the district, like sponsoring an athlete for Special Olympics. This year, we wanted to do something different, so we are pleased to announce that we are establishing a $500 scholarship for a graduating senior who is both a graduate of MPS and the child of an MCA member. This School Board Appreciation Scholarship will be in addition to the 5 scholarships we already award each year. Applications will be due early May, and the recipient will be selected late May or early June. On behalf of all the MCA members, thank you for your time, your leadership, and your commitment to creating a strong and supportive school system for both our students and staff. We truly appreciate the work that you do and are grateful for the partnership that we share. So thank you.
Thanks, Jerry. Bill Domina.
Good evening. After reading the 80-page Omnitech report, I think they did an amazing job capturing comments from a wide cross-section of the community and stakeholders. However, the many individual comments are analogous to a reservoir of colored tile pieces such that the final design can take many forms. That mosaic will be the next bond proposal. While I was against the last bond, I am praying for you to generate a bond or sinking fund proposal that has a chance to pass and addresses the reasons why 2/3 of voters said no. Here are some key items that I hope you take to heart. Dow is laying off 15% globally, and that will further erode the tax base of Midland and decrease enrollment. Your plan must be the epitome of frugality, supported by detailed plans and systems for transparency in order for those living on the edge to support more taxes. We are not the affluent Midland of 10 years ago. On page 4, it lists financial discipline and high achievement scores as MPS strengths. The no voters disagreed emphatically that their money was or would be used wisely. Trust must be re-earned. The third grade reading and math proficiency numbers were a shock to many, especially when they understood the difference between raw proficiency and the inflated numbers that factored in non-academic criteria. Some common things across demographics regarded overcrowding classrooms and the need for more parapros. There was no mention of how this issue can be helped by limiting pre-K enrollment to Carpenter School and achieving 85% classroom utilization by limiting out-of-district enrollment. Regarding age-appropriate use of technology, encouragement to limit Chromebooks and screen time in favor of the more effective use of textbooks for young learners, perhaps until grade 5. Also, there is no long-term plan for facilities and infrastructure. A community-supported, long-term plan for facilities and infrastructure is a foundational need. Page 47, maintain and improve existing buildings with a focus on long-term sustainability. Amen. Reduce deferred maintenance to protect facilities, investing strategically to extend useful life. Address disparities in building conditions and resources. Facility investments should reduce inequities caused by aging infrastructure or uneven distribution of upgrades between schools. In summary, I encourage you to analyze this report in light of the reasons why the last bond was defeated and create your mosaic accordingly. Thank you.
Jennifer Lowe.
Hello, I'm Jenny Lowe. I'm an MPS staff member working in the Dow High Theater and Music Department, substitute teacher and a mother of 5. My oldest graduated summa cum laude last year from Dow, and the 4 others look forward to following her. I am a theater director, and I know how to speak slowly, but not tonight, so I apologize. Today, I'm speaking to urge you to reconsider approving Chromebooks for grades K through 5, particularly as it applies to today's vote, and ask that you take a step back and ask if we are spending money because it's what's best for our students or because it's what has been done. My suggestion is to form a task force of stakeholders, including elementary school teachers and parents, to discuss appropriate technology use for our youngest students. I participated in the strategic planning feedback sessions and know I'm not the only one concerned about this topic. When we moved here in 2012, 1 grade per building, including my daughter's kindergarten class, piloted one-to-one iPads. In 2013, the public voted down a bond that would provide one-to-one devices for all of our students. However, in 2015, a bond was passed by voters. According to the ballot language, the measure was a request for installing security measures for remodeling, furnishing, and anyway, it's very technical. It says installing instructional technology and instructional technology equipment for school buildings, along with buses and other things. Sorry, I'll stumble over it. The ballot language left something out that was overlooked. It wasn't until shortly before the vote that it was revealed that instructional technology meant one-to-one devices and was buried in the technical details. Because it was coupled with needed upgrades, including the proposal to build Central Park, and was not publicly made known even in the ballot language, the measure passed without question. To many of us, it felt like a dirty political trick. Numerous studies have linked technology use to depression, anxiety, and self-harm, particularly in the ages of 10 through 14. We know the effects of technology on attention span and ability to handle social situations, and no one needs to pay for research on the behavioral effects that come from trying to pull a young child away from screen. Yet every day we are doing this to our kids in the elementary schools. We give kids the rewards their brains crave only to pull it away. We end up forcing our teachers to deal with it, then blame the teachers for not getting results we want. I would love to see a study that examines reading scores among our 3rd graders and not just look pre and post-COVID, but look pre and post devices, where we're already heading downwards. I'm urging our school board to be creative leaders in protecting our students' mental health and social health while taking active measures to preserve childhood and reverse the disturbing trends associated with technology. My suggestion would be to eliminate one-to-one devices for students in at least K through 4th grades, go the old-fashioned route where each school has a class set per grade on a cart that teachers can reserve. Then when students hit 5th or 6th grade, they have to take a multi-part class that discusses responsible and healthy tech use, sharing with them the pros and cons of screens and what research has said. help them to take control of their own mental health. And after this and a parent's signature, they'll be given a one-to-one device, which still allows for them to have it in grades beyond 5th or 6th grade. Midland has the potential to lead the way in equipping our students for life beyond school and to fight the tide of anxiety, depression, escapism, loneliness, and extremism that have all eroded our society. Thank you.
Thanks. Anybody else like to address the board?
I'm going to piggyback off of Jenny Lowe. My name is Bethany Broderick. I have 4 kids in the school system ranging from 6th grade to senior in high school. And my kids all started here from kindergarten on. I love the Midland Public Schools. I think you guys do a great job, and I appreciate all you do, but I do want to look at the same Chromebook issue. And more from less of the logistical aspect of it and more kind of the psychological aspect of it. So here you're going to have this vote, this procedural thing to vote to keep the Chromebook program going, right? And but before we spend money on perpetuating a system that I don't necessarily agree with, despite having a son who is like all my children do well academically despite the Chromebooks being in the classroom, I think that there are better ways to spend our money. So I want to talk about my 6th grader, Forden. He is struggling to focus in class and at home to work on his Chromebook for things that he is assigned to do because he gets distracted by games and videos and other things that are also available on those Chromebooks. And why? Because the school system taught him to do that. Because in elementary school, the Chromebooks are used as like a reward. After you get your work done, you can work on your Chromebook, or indoor recess, or all these things that allow the children to use it as a reward system rather than an academic tool. So in the early grades, Chromebooks are used primarily and sometimes exclusively to entertain free time. And the students are inevitably drawn to entertaining games on their screens. We feed them that 5 years, or 6 years, kindergarten through 5th grade, and then suddenly in middle school, they're required to use them as tools, but they haven't yet learned those skills to use them as tools. Oh, my notes just disappeared. Okay, so my son, he had his Chromebook taken away in class because he was caught playing games. And we thanked his teacher for doing that, right? Because we don't want him to be playing the games. But we asked him, and he said, well, all the other kids were doing it too. I just wasn't as fast at getting rid of it, right? And so it's like, it's a epidemic of some sorts, right? And I feel like if we're still feeding money into the system of Chromebooks for elementary school kids, we're not going to find a solution. So think about that as you vote tonight to add money to the system that I feel like is hurting my children. Thank you.
Anybody else? Jenny and Bethany, happy to talk with you more outside of this. Yep. I have a 3rd grader and a 1st grader, and have sat down with them to see what's on their Chromebook, what games do they play. I was excited to learn that my son loves playing the math game, right? Today, everything we do is on a computer. So personally, I struggle just saying no on a device because I think there is a solution. Maybe we don't have it perfect yet. Fully admit that. But I think there has to be a solution to say we can do both. We can have a device that enables our students to learn and assists the teacher in the classroom, while also making sure that it's not used by students in a way that distracts them in class or takes away from the learning environment. I'm not a teacher. What our teachers do in the classroom is amazing. When I've been into my kids' classroom, I'm astounded with how they can keep the attention of 25 to 30 kids, and not only keep the attention of 25 to 30 kids, but somehow connect with each of them individually. Occasionally, I think that means that some of our students might have a little bit of extra learning to do in a computer while a teacher individualizes curriculum for a different student in the classroom. If there are specifics that we need to eliminate or adapt, I know Penny and her team will work on that. So would love to have those conversations with you and figure out how to make a solution that's right for you and your family. But offer my time outside of this to hear how we can continue to improve. All right.
Phil, can I interrupt for a second?
Yeah.
I would also love to meet with both of you. I have very, very similar feelings about this subject. I have a second grader and a DK student, and I'm already seeing from my second grader who doesn't get screen time at home, except during the Olympics, but I'm already seeing him want to play games on the weekends, and he tells me that he learns these games at school. So I absolutely hear you, and I think we have a lot of work to do in this area.
Sure.
I'm Marion Fitzgerald. Can you hear me through it?
Yes.
I have a 8th grade granddaughter in the schools, and other friends and family members in the schools too. But I know that on the subject of the games, that I've overheard conversations of the kids talking about how they learn how to circumvent the system and play games and things that they're not allowed to on their Chromebooks. The other thing I have a problem with all of these things is definitely in the younger grades, they don't need it. They will learn, I mean, we all learned computers, and we didn't have it. I didn't have it till I was an adult. And the other thing with these Chromebooks, they lose them, they break them, the cords are always lost, broken, forgotten, or the dog ate it, and then they need a new one. Well, they can't charge them if they don't have the cord, and there may be kids that don't have the money to replace the cords, and what do you do about that? So those are some of the points that I just quick thought of. Thank you.
Anybody else? All right. Item 5, curriculum, instruction, and assessment. 5.1 are CIA study committee meeting minutes from January 20th.
Curriculum Instruction and Assessment Committee Study Committee met on January 20th. Members present were myself, Ann Horowitz, Maggie Craig, Ken Weaver, Penny Miller-Nelson, with guests Lucas Pelez and Joy Yang Yao. We met here at the administration building. The meeting started at 1:30 p.m. Dr. Ken Weaver presented both information about the district school improvement plan as well as the My Student Voice survey results for students. And then Lucas presented on alternative learning pathways. The meeting adjourned at 2:45, and you'll hear next month about our meeting today.
Thanks. Item 6, Finance, Facilities, and Operations. 6.1, FFO Study Committee Notes from February 2nd.
We met on February 2nd. Members present were myself, John Lauterbach, Scott McFarland, Penny Miller-Nelson, Brian Bruton, and Anna Womack. Guests present, Ken Weaver and Lucas Pellis. Meeting location was here at the administration building. We started at 5 o'clock and we covered a handful of things. December financials were covered. Virtual alternative programming. The committee discussed virtual alternative programming. We went through seal coating bids. Administration will propose awarding a bid for seal coating services. K-8 Chromebook replacement. Administration will propose replacing K-8 Chromebooks through the REMC Saves bid. Box truck. Administration will propose the purchase of 2 box trucks for food service. Facilities assessment. The committee discussed the facilities assessment. And strategic planning. The committee discussed district strategic planning, and the meeting adjourned at 6:28 p.m.
Thanks, Brad. Item 6.2 for action, seal coating bid. Anna.
Bids were solicited and a tabulation is provided for crack filling, sealing, and painting parking lots throughout the district. Administration recommends issuing a purchase order to Prime Results, LLC of Alpena, Michigan for $92,401. Operating funds will be utilized for this purchase.
Thanks. Is there a motion to approve item 6.2?
I'll move to approve item 6.2.
Motion by McFarland, support by Lauterbach. Any discussion or questions? All in favor of approving item 6.2, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Item 6.3 for action, K-8 Chromebook replacement. Anna.
Administration recommends approving a purchase order to C-High Computer Products, Inc. of Rochester Hills, Michigan, the amount of $2,294,628 for 5,900 HP Fortis 11 G11 Chromebooks. This purchase is a critical component of our one-to-one student device lifecycle plan, ensuring that our students have access to modern, reliable, and secure technology for their daily learning. This expenditure is a scheduled part of the 2015 Bond Series 3. The pricing provided by C-High Computer Products was secured through the REMC Save bid, which is a competitively bid statewide contract for Michigan schools. Utilizing this contract ensures that the district is in full compliance with board purchasing policy and state competitive bidding requirements.
Thanks, Anna. Is there a motion to approve item 6.3?
Support.
Motion by Lauterbach, support by McFarland. Any discussion or questions on this one?
I have a question. What would happen if we were to delay the vote and delay the purchase?
Of the units for the K-8? Well, nowadays, most of the curriculum that you purchase is digital, especially when you get up in the grades, 6th grade and above. K-5, we had a difficult decision as we were looking at things, and we were separating out K-2 and actually polled the teachers to see how often do they use them for instructional purposes, and the K-2 came back that they use it quite often, anywhere from a couple of times a week to 5 times a week. The other thing, too, to consider is that we use the devices for testing. Now, 3 through and the grades up, all the state testing is digital in order to get the testing in a manner that doesn't completely disrupt the school for the most of spring. We have to have enough devices to do that, as well as in the K-5 world especially, but also in the 6-8, we also NWA test, which is all digital as well too. So the devices are needed to be able to conduct that testing in a manner that gets it as quickly as possible. We are aware of the distraction that sometimes these devices do cause. We work with the tech department to make sure we have products such as Go Guardian and some other products as well too to monitor student use, and do encourage the teachers to use those as well too, and to be able to shut down use where it's not being used appropriately. As well too, just a good old fashioned getting up around the room and monitoring the what the kids are doing as well too helps with that as well too. While we're not perfect, we're working at that, and we are trying to look at it. We had discussed coming together because we had to go ahead with the purchase to make sure we had it for the testing and so forth, to look at some type of use policy at the elementary level and trying to come up with some type of approach and recommendation to the teachers. Unfortunately, probably at times it is used to reward, unfortunately, but that is not encouraged, nor are we happy to see it being done.
In addition to answering your question, this was a planned item of our bond. We are under certain spending requirements where we have to spend 85% within a 3-year period. So something to keep in mind that if the board did not choose to move forward with this, we would need to evaluate and come up with a different plan.
I also think we have some procurement timeline concerns. I'm looking to Dave in the back there. So the timing of this also matters for when we make the purchase and can receive them. I want to just echo what Ken said and assure you that the feedback we heard through public comment is familiar to us. Ken and I have been, our whole team have been talking about technology use in our schools, trying to find that balance. Many of our admin team and I think teams of teachers have done book studies. You all received a copy of the book as well. And we recognize that we need to find this appropriate balance of the use of technology and other learning modalities. We've heard our presentation about our play-based initiative. So that's an example of where we're trying to strike this balance. So rest assured that our intentions are to bring teams together, analyze this further, and put some more parameters in place about best use.
Yeah, I think best use is the right way to go about this. And this purchase, in my mind, is not, this is separate and distinct from the conversation that we heard today in public comment. This enables the conversation that we heard today, but I think it's a conversation that needs to be had regardless of if we spend this money or not. You know, I see in my own kids the way in which they use technology, and I gave you the example of my 3rd grader plays math games on his computer and is working on repetition of multiplication tables and adding and subtracting. My wife volunteers to mentor some of the Project Lead the Way programs that are in 5th grade. You know, because they have a device, these kiddos can collaborate on their paper. She can log in and put comments in there on where they need to improve. And, you know, I don't think the board is going to be the ones that say where the cutoff is. I think that has to be through our administration and teams with community input as to like how this process is going. But, you know, obviously a conversation we need to continue to have and have it in public so that our parents and community members are an integral part of that process, right? Any other questions or comments?
I think I have a comment. And I say it that way because I agree with what you mentioned also, Ann, and what I see with my own kids. And more so than just seeing it with my kids, I see it with myself. I have devices. I have difficulty sometimes only doing the task that I am setting out to do on my device. And so there's a larger problem that we're subject to as a district of figuring out the best solution. It's also difficult because, of course, approving this keeps us on the current track that we're on and continues that momentum. So this is why I said I think I have a comment, because it's formulating in my head as I'm saying it. I guess ultimately, I hope that those conversations will continue, and I appreciate the comments that were made. I think they're valid. And I'm glad that you guys are already starting to look at these things.
I also agree with everything that has been said. I have kiddos that started in the district with the one-to-one or the one grade level in each school having iPads. So we've done the whole journey and they're now graduated and in college. But I also think that this purchase, one, does not preclude us from having those conversations. And also the way that technology changes with our security and being able to have what we need to have on Chromebooks, we need to update and have recent models. So I think whether they're going, we make a shift at any point, these devices help us to continue forward in having the safest and most updated technology for whichever students are going to be using it.
All right. All in favor of approving item 6.3, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
Motion carries. Item 6.4 for action, box truck bid. Anna.
Administration recommends ordering two 2027 Ford E450 cutaway vans with liftgates from Lunghammer Ford of Owasso, Michigan, for a total price of $135,718. The vehicles will be assigned to the Food Service Department. The box trucks will be purchased using the state My Deal bidding program, and this purchase will be paid for out of the food service funds.
Thanks, Anna. Is there a motion for item 6.4?
So moved. Support.
Motion by Lauterbach, support by Ringgold. Any discussion or questions?
I believe we covered it in the meeting, but these are going to be replacing how old of vehicles?
Old. I can get you the exact dates, but yes, they are replacing old food service vans that are nearing end of life.
Okay. They are extremely old. I don't remember what the year was, but they are beyond end of life. So this is a needed purchase. I support it. And being able to use our food service funds is a double bonus for the board and for the district. What's the time frame on receiving these?
That I am not completely sure on. Most of our van type purchases have taken a while to do so. I would anticipate for these that we would probably be looking at some point in the summer if we were able to purchase them this week.
Okay.
All right. Any further discussion or questions? All in favor of approving item 6.4, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Item 6.5 for action, gifts totaling $21,820.63. Anna.
We have two items tonight totaling $21,820.63 that will require your acceptance on behalf of the board this evening. These items are a donation from H.H. Dow High Sports Boosters to Dow High for support for softball batting cage and soil preparation, the amount of $8,000, as well as a donation from MHS Athletic Booster Club to Midland High School to support athletic programs in the amount of $13,820.63. We would request that you approve accepting these gifts this evening.
Thanks, Anna. Do I have a motion for item 6.5?
I'll move to approve item 6.5.
Support.
Just for clarification, it's item 5 for the record.
Was this? Really?
Item 6.5, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
6 is FFO and then.
Sorry.
Yes. Okay. No, you're good.
We're good.
Motion by McFarland, support by Craig. Any further discussion or questions? All in favor of approving item 6.5, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Item 6.6 for information. Anna.
The total amount of gifts listed for information only tonight is $16,161.24. These gifts this evening represent support for programs ranging from support for robotics at Adams, Jefferson, Siebert, Central Park, and Dow High, drama at Dow High, field trip transportation for Midland High, and more. As is tradition, all donors are going to be recognized in the credits of this evening's broadcast and also through board correspondence upon your behalf. We are grateful for our community's support for our students and our programs.
Thanks, Anna. Item 6.7, gifts for information.
The total estimated value of gifts of item listed for information only tonight is $18,368. These gifts this evening represent food service equipment to be used throughout the district, a vehicle for use in the auto tech program, 2 benches for school grounds, and 46 library-bound books. We are grateful for our community's donation of these items, and all donors will be recognized in the credits of this evening's broadcast and also through board correspondence upon your behalf.
Thank you. Thank you to wonderful community for continuing to support us. Item 7 is Human Resources, 7.1 HR Study Committee meeting notes from February 11th.
The HR Study Committee meeting met on February 11th. Present was myself, Mecky Craig, Scott McFarland, Cynthia Marchese, Penny Miller-Nelson, and Kara Stark. We started the meeting at approximately 1 p.m. We discussed the calendar update for the 2026-27 year. Yay, the calendar is ready to go after tonight. We discussed the administration shared upcoming staff retirements and an overview of the staffing process and timeline. We received an update on current legal matters. We discussed the current progress of MFP, so Midland Federation of Paraprofessionals negotiations. We talked through enhancements made to the onboarding process, and we're really excited to hear about some of the new enhancements. And we discussed recruitment strategies. Administration provided an overview of current recruitment strategies, and we brainstormed some additional potential pipelines for recruitment and discussed future opportunities. We talked about the strategic planning process as well as the facility planning process, and we adjourned at 2:14 p.m.
Thank you. Item 7.2, I would like to propose that we actually make this for action. We take action on item 2.2, which are the resignations, so I think it'd be appropriate to take action on 7.2, since they're also employees that are leaving the district. But item 7.2, retirements. Kara.
The below staff announced their retirement effective this date. MCEA retirements effective June 4th, 2026. The teachers include Monique Albright, Midland High, Amy Baker, Chestnut Hill, Brian Besaw, Central Park, Dawn Brown, Special Services, Amy Dene, Jefferson Middle School, Sylvia Gilvitas, Central Park, Michael Graves, Jefferson, Karen Guston, Woodcrest, Kimberly Hilliard, Dow High, Jennifer Lehman, Jefferson, Mark Naffey, Jefferson, Sarah Pancost, Dow High, Jamie Swanson, Northeast, Pamela Taylor, Plymouth, Lori Washbaugh, Adams. MCEA retirements, teachers that are effective October 26, 2026, Heather Chanteau, Siebert. MFP retirements are paraprofessionals effective June 4th, 2026, Tanya Ross, Woodcrest, Jody Spear, Central Park. Other, we have Brian Brutin, Assistant Superintendent of Administration, effective January 29th, 2027. Tim Chisholm, Building Manager, Maintenance Grounds, effective June 30th, 2026. Kim Funnel, Continuous Improvement in State Federal Programs, Administration, effective July 30th, 2026. Lori Holderby, Director of Fiscal Services, Administration, effective June 30th, 2026. Anthony Tolles, Building Manager, Jefferson Middle School, effective June 30th, 2026. And Joni Wing, Administrative Assistant, Plymouth Elementary, effective June 30th, 2026.
Thanks, Kara. I have a motion to approve item 7.2.
Support.
Motion by Lauterbach, support by Horowitz. Any discussion or questions? I know we can't really say no, but I want to. Anytime an employee makes it to retirement in our district, it's an amazing thing to think back on how many students and families these employees and teachers have truly affected and made our community a better place because of the love and passion that they put into Midland Public Schools. And just a heartfelt thank you to all of these employees and what they've done to, really inspire excellence and continue a strong legacy. So thank you. All in favor of?
Hey, Phil, I have one quick comment. Put you on the spot for a little bit. If you wouldn't mind, if you could just give a short couple sentences about why we are looking for this information now. Because from the group of teachers that are retiring, we ask them so that they give us plenty of notice so that we have recruiting, we have things lined up.
Yes.
There is a little stipend for them, but we encourage them to inform us so that we can plan. That's a lot of spots, and a lot of people, a lot of history, and a lot of things that get lost in those retirements. And you don't just replace them overnight. It takes a phenomenal amount of time and research and aligning and going all the way into the spring, and we start laying out classes for the fall. And I don't know, I'm answering it for you.
Yeah, you don't, I
whatever.
was just gonna say, you don't need me to talk. You're doing a great job. Keep going. This says to me, you understand how we work. This is great.
Yes, so as a business, these are decisions and information that we have to have at this time of the year, so that's why we do this. Some of them are way off into the distance, and those are even some of the most important ones, or just as important as teachers, as our administrative team, building managers, the whole list.
Yeah.
And some of those spots are extremely difficult to fill. So for you, that's why you're seeing all this at this time of the year, and we appreciate the people on the list for all they've done and to let us know that they're leaving and retiring so that we have a chance to attempt to fill half the shoes.
I really can't add to that other than just because that was perfect, other than to say, we also like this extra time to celebrate all of these folks, and we'll be celebrating right up until their last day. We are still a destination district. Folks like to come work at Midland Public Schools, and we're really proud of that. It is important, though, that we can get out to the market as soon as we can with these openings, and that's what we intend to do. Our HR team has already taken some action based on our analysis, and we have postings out right now, and we'll continue to do that. So thanks for that summary. And Phil, your words about this group were right on point.
Thanks. All in favor of approving item 7.2, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Thanks. Item 8 are correspondence from the Board of Education to the following individuals or organizations listed in your agenda packet. Item 9 for information are the regular meetings for the rest of 2026. I'll just note for the public that we also have the special board meeting coming up Friday afternoon on the 27th of February. Item 10, study session discussion. Are there any points of clarification or comments from any of the board members?
I just wanted to make a comment on something that I heard earlier, and I always appreciate when we get public comment of all types. I really appreciated the data points that we got back from the kids, and I think it's so important that they had that opportunity. They spend the most time in our buildings, and I trust that the adults and professionals who are looking at those data points can give them the weight that they deserve. But I did want to just acknowledge how important those kids, those opinions are.
Yeah, well said. Anybody else? Not, I'll turn it over to Penny.
Great. I do have a few announcements and reminders. We already covered retirements, so I'll scoot past that one, as well as the calendar. I want you all to know that we've taken a little bit different approach this year with our kindergarten snapshot event, and we feel it was really successful. Last week, we hosted that event over at Central Auditorium. We had over 100 folks join us to learn about kindergarten, and it was a great opportunity for us to have that first real point of in-person engagement to help them know how much we want to be supportive of them and help them come into the Midland Public Schools community with all the support they need. Just a quick shout out to our elementary principals and Gen Service, and even our own Katie Geyer were there to facilitate that session and share great information. And then after, we had our partners from Chartwells, our transportation department, Becky Longstreth, our enrollment specialist, was there, and Greater Midland Before and After Care had a table as well. So families could really get a full sense of the information they needed, and the feedback so far has been really good. On January 29th, we had over 60 students participate in the vocational day that our Noon Rotary Club hosted, and that was just a really great first moment for us to partner with Rotary in that way. Lots of good feedback from students. We actually hosted some students here at Midland Public Schools in our facilities department, our communications department, our technology department, and it was interesting for those students to hear we aren't just schools, we also are the third largest employer in our community and have all of these operations that need to happen. So thank you to Rotary for taking a chance on that. Andrea Joswick, a member of our team, did a phenomenal job planning, and we owe her some gratitude. And to the Midland Daily News, who covered that story really beautifully and helped our community see that connection. I previously shared with you all that budget season has officially kicked off. The governor has shared her executive budget, and we don't get too overly excited because there's a lot of road between now and the end, but please trust that we're following this closely and we'll be sharing information as it comes available. Just in a high-level summary, she's recommending additional funding for at-risk, to continue the move for universal preschool for all, to continue universal free meals, and there's money also to support literacy, professional learning, curriculum resources, and student supports. I want to assure you all that we are aware of the new legislation with cell phones. You might know that our secondary schools already limit use of cell phones during instructional time. So in that regard, we meet that minimum standard that this new legislation calls for, but this is a great opportunity for us to have a dialogue, to gather some data, and to make an informed recommendation about what we might want to do in addition to that. There are some nuances to that legislation as well that calls for us to have more specific plans in place for emergency situations for students who might receive special services or have medical conditions. So trust that we'll be digging into that and we'll be prepared for the fall of 26 to launch that. I suspect that Troon will issue a policy that you all can consider, and then we can add to that how we want to handle our internal protocols and expectations. More to come on that. We have an exciting and necessary learning program that we will be bringing forth for the board's consideration. We know that we don't yet meet the needs of each of our students, and we know we can do better. So we are going to bring forth a solution for that. And that solution will be in alignment with our commitment to being solutions-oriented, innovative, and student-centered. And this will entail the development of an alternative school model that we intend to pilot in the fall. So at the March board meeting, we'll bring forward a presentation for the board to consider and determine what those next steps will be. We've discussed this at our study committee meetings, and members of those committees have studied this and provided some initial feedback. So stay tuned for that full presentation. And then to just end on this additional high note, Public Schools Week is February 23rd through 27th. It's a great time to celebrate the work of public schools. here in our community as well as our state and country. Thank you to Midland City Council, who offered a proclamation in support of Public Schools Week. Oh, you have it right there. Katie and I visited that meeting, and the mayor presented us with that proclamation, and we're very proud of that. Tomorrow, we visit the Midland County Board of Commissioners meeting, and they are considering a proclamation as well, and the other superintendents in the county will be joining us for that. All right, that's all I have for tonight.
Thanks. Item 11 is closed session. Somebody would like to make the motion, please, as written.
Move that we head into closed session under consultation with legal counsel regarding pending litigation as permitted under MCL 15.268, Section 8E.
Motion by Ringgold, support by Lauterbach. Any discussion or questions? This does require a roll call vote. If you would please, Jen.
President Roush.
Yes.
Vice President McFarland.
Yes.
Secretary Ringgold is a yes. Treasurer Lauterbach.
Yes.
Trustee Blasey.
Yes.
Trustee Craig.
Yes.
Trustee Horowitz.
Yes.
We are in closed session.
And for the public, we will just come out and adjourn. We are now back in open session. One thing I just remind the public of is we have a half day on Friday, no school on Monday, so kids and staff can enjoy a long weekend. Can I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved. Support.
Motion by Lauterbach, support by McFarland. All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay, we're adjourned.